Hey guys, welcome back to my video. Today I will be doing a Minions and Monsters movie review. So when the trailer first dropped, the first thing that popped in my head was like, oh damn, another one. Because we've had three movies in the franchise that have came out in the span of 6 years. So there might be a little bit of minion fatigue going on because we've been getting these movies so frequently now. I really love the franchise. I've seen all of the four Despicable Me movies, the first, second, third, and fourth one. However, I did not see any of the Minion prequels. Um, because to me personally, I didn't feel like, well, when they first announced a prequel, I didn't think that it was really necessary because minions aren't really protagonist coded. If you've seen the first couple of movies, you know that they don't really like speak a language that we understand. They speak Minionese, which is a bunch of gibberish. Um, it's basically like a mix of like Spanish, French, some like Japanese in there. It's just a mix of different languages, and they just kind of like say say like a bunch of gibberish. And so like there are some words that we understand, like some keywords that are like some in Spanish, some in French, etc. So it's just a mix of different gibberish, and that's the point of the character, which I think that's funny. But again, they don't speak a language that we understand. So it's like kind of like, oh well, why are we getting a movie about character that speak gibberish throughout the whole movie, which I think is funny because in Despicable Me, you have Gru, who's really funny. You like it works because they bounce off each other, right? So Gru will interact with the minions, and then the minions will interact back, and it's just the whole funny things too. So with the new movies, the prequel that came out soon after Despicable Me 1 and 2, it blew up in the box office, so it must have been a good idea. Um, However, I still haven't seen any of the main prequels, but I've seen the most recent one. And is the recent one good? I would say it is actually. Box office wise, this movie didn't do too well. In the in the Despicable Me franchise, this is probably no, it is the worst performing um opening weekend of all seven movies. So there is that opening weekend. It was around $37 million. So domestically, not very good. However, it did outperform overseas. So um countries like China, Germany, France, they did really well in the box office. Especially China. There's this character in the movie called Gumi. Gumi is this like baby Cthulhu monster creature thing, but in the movie it's designed to be cute. So in China really loved the Gumi design. They thought it was really cute, so they started selling toys of Gumi, and that really just raised the attraction of the audience in China to watch Minions and Monsters because of the Gumi toy. They did really good with that marketing. So I thought that was pretty cool, but it did outperform overseas. However, domestically, it wasn't like that. They were also dealt a bad hand because it came out in 4th of July weekend. So most families are just home cooking, doing outdoor stuff, spending time with their family, fireworks, things like that. Because 4th of July weekend, you know, typically people wouldn't watch a movie or go to the movies in 4th of July. So, yeah, there's that. But it's funny because Minions Rise of Gru, which came out in 2022, that also came out I'm sorry, not opening. It also came out 4th of July weekend, and it performed better than Minions and Monsters. So I thought that was kind of funny. Okay, next I'm gonna talk about the movie for a bit. Say about what things that I like, what I dislike, and just to be aware that I might get into spoilers. So just a little warning for that. But uh, the events of Minions and Monsters take place like before Minions, the first prequel that came out. It predates that time. So it's a bit confusing because James not James, Bob, Kevin, the trio and Minions aren't in Minions and Monsters because in the first film it was a trio. Now this one they're focused on a different set of characters, which is James and Henry. But in this, it's kind of like implied in the beginning of the movie that they were separated by two tribes. One is gonna be with James and Henry, which is the one we follow, and it's gonna be the second one where they're frozen in a cave with Bob, Kevin, and Stewart, right? So it kind of clears that up a bit. I don't know if it's made it clear, but it's kind of implied. But anyway, there's that. Um, so, it's basically the same thing we've seen before, where like the minions are actively searching for a new boss, a new bad guy to um to follow. So they've gone to different types of bosses, and this is where it kind of gets funny because we've seen like a lot of these characters die so brutally, and it makes me think like, what is not it's not even a kids movie because we've seen so many like fatalities in this movie. We've seen someone fall off a cliff into like a floor full of spikes. We saw a beheading. We saw some other like we saw a wizard get burned alive. It was just like a bunch of like fatalities, and I'm just like, damn, like this has more violence and fatalities than Supergirl does. I think that's so funny that is actually a statistic that we're comparing. But anyways, after they killed basically all their bosses, they eventually do get into Hollywood, and instead of like pursuing a boss, they instead um do movies instead. They kind of like steer away from that looking for a boss, or they want to make movies instead, right? So they get hired, they become famous, they blow up, right? But then once dialogue came out, because this takes place in the 20s, right? So movies weren't as obviously with how they are today with audio, picture, things like that. So anyways, so when audio first rolled out, the minions had dialogue, but since they speak gibberish, no one understood what they were saying, and because of that, they got fired because every time they had a dialogue or a line, they would butcher their lines every single time, and they would just say something random like well, blah blah blah, something like that, banana, whatever they say, whatever minions say, right? However they speak, that's how they would talk in the scenes. And then it was so funny because it's literally gibberish. I'm not even talking, but anyway, so they get fired, right? Because they're not talking, right? And then James, the main character, he is heartbroken because he really wants to make movies, but then he gets his eureka moment where he's like, "Oh, actually, I'm gonna I have an idea. We should have monsters in our movies. We should make a movie about monsters." And there's the tribe leader. His name is Dick. Um, Real quick, I want to mention how funny they played with his name because Dick is normally short for Richard, right? But here his name is just plain Dick, and they don't even and like they don't even well they made that clear actually. So real quick, just skip ahead. There's this character that asks him, "What's your name?" And then he goes, "Oh, my name is Dick." And he's like, "Oh, that's short for Richard, right?" It's like, "No, that my name is actually Dick." So like the minions just call him Dick because he acts like one. He does act like one, so I think that I thought that was funny. But anyways, Dick, the tribe leader, he tells James, "No, we're not gonna make movies anymore, okay? We're done with that. We got fired. It's over. Let's look for a new boss and leave that behind, right?" James is like, "Oh, I don't want to do that." So then Dick basically just kind of like not kick him out. He just kind of say, "Okay, we're gonna go look for a new boss. You stay here and do what you want to do." So Dick and the other minions go off, and James just stands there by himself. But he meets a new friend called Henry. Henry's his best friend, and then there's this other minion. I think his name was Eric. I believe that's his name, Eric. But we got a new trio now. But the other one doesn't talk. Eric, he doesn't talk at all. He is deaf apparently. So just really just James and Henry. So basically, just to kind of speed things up, they get to this island. They they used a book that they stole from an evil wizard, and it's basically summoned a monster. And this monster is a baby Chuchulu. Um, Baby Chulu thing was a monster, but it's supposed to be like a little baby version of it. And this is the one where I was talking about earlier about they were selling toys of it in China. Um, this monster's name is Gumi, right? That's the main villain. But in the beginning, we were made to believe that he's helping out James, right? He's just helping him out. But no, he is secretly evil. And it's funny because like whenever he was announcing his name to James and Henry, he was like, "Oh, my name is Gary, blah blah blah," and then at the end he says the deceiver. So like from the get go, we knew that he was supposed to be a bad guy because his name literally said the deceiver in it. So yeah, so anyways, he summons up more monsters and they go do his movie thing he wants. But Henry's like, "Oh, maybe this is a bad idea. We should not do this at all." But James like, "No, this is my movie, okay? My movie. Okay, we're gonna, you know, let anything stop me from making movies, right? So blah blah blah, right?" So, James wants to go through with this, but Henry is like, "Oh no, I got a bad feeling about this." There anyways, there's another storyline in this movie with Dick, and there's this surprising character that surprisingly stood out for me. Is Dort the robot? He was barely in any trailers, so I was surprised of how important this character was, especially like towards the middle of the movie. But Dort is this robot, but or alien thing, but when we first see him, I low-key thought he was just a cosplayer because because we meet Dorm at a sci-fi convention, and he's like he like his whole apparel looks like his is fake, just like cosplay, right? But no, it's real. Like he's very much real. He's actually an alien from a different planet that looks like a robot. That's basically what Dort is. And also, I was surprised that he is voiced by Jesse Eisenberg. I had no idea that was him. I found this out later on, but Dort was voiced by Jesse Eisenberg, and he sounds nothing like him, nothing at all. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But anyways, and then there's a subplot with Dort and this other female character, a women's rights activist, Deborah, I think that's the name, Deborah, where they just kind of fall in love, and um oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the minions do find Dord at this sci-fi convention, and they're like, "Oh, we got a new big boss now, right? He's big boss. Yeah, let's go." So then they follow Dord now. But now Dort has an idea. Okay, let's invade Earth now. I have my minions assembled. Let's do this. But then that's where we meet Deborah, and Deborah's like, "Oh no, I like you, Dort. You know, you're so cute. You're a good guy." And Dora's like, "All right, I'll go on a date with you instead. I'm not gonna invade Earth anymore. I'm just gonna join her protesting women's rights." That happens in the movie, by the way. That's actually real. But anyways, um of course Kumi portrays James, and then he summons up an actual blob type monster which destroys the city. Um this There's a kind of like where the two plots combine, Dick and Dord with James and Henry. They kind of combine. They're like, oh, okay, we gotta stop this blob from tearing up the city. Dord runs home and gets in a spaceship, and it's like with his minions, right? The minions join him too. They're like, all right, let's take this monster down, right? And then they destroy the monster, and then the monster is dead, and then they win. But something that I did not like about this movie was the ending. The ending was horrible. I feel like the ending kind of ruined the movie for me because major spoiler, but the whole thing was a movie. So James and Henry wanting to do Hollywood, the monsters we see throughout the movie, beginning of the movie towards the end, even Gumi was an actor. Everyone there was an actor, and it all didn't mean anything. It's all just it was all a movie all along. That's all it was. All it was all a dream. That was basically what the movie was. I hate it when that happened because to me that tells me, oh, what I've just seen right now did not matter. Like I just sat there for like an hour and a half. Maybe it's pretty short, by the way. It's like an hour and a half. I sat there for an hour and a half just for it to all mean nothing towards the end. I'm just like, so it's all a movie then? That's so lame. And I get it. I know the reason why is because like it's a kids movie. It's supposed to like because like we've seen a lot of brutal death in the movie. We've seen the deaths of all these monsters, Gumi, um, blah blah blah. Right? We've seen many fatalities in this movie. And it was so like the kids can be like, oh, okay, it didn't actually die. They didn't. It wasn't real. They didn't actually die like that, a gruesome death. So it was for that factor. So I get why they did that, but for me personally, it just kind of ruins it for me because I'm just like, oh, okay, it just didn't matter, I guess. So yeah. Besides the ending, everything else is pretty good. I really love this movie. It was really, really funny. I giggled a lot. Actually, I thought this movie was funnier than Toy Story 5, which Toy Story 5 isn't really a comedy. I get that, but I like this movie was more humorous, more fun. Just a little popcorn flick to watch with your family. So I just, yeah, really enjoyed this film. The ending did kind of ruin it for me, but other than that, I really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, it isn't doing too hot in the box office. It just minion fatigue, to be honest. It's just we've had this movie before, so it's not gonna do well again because one just came out 4 years ago. So, anyways, yeah. Overall, I would probably rate this an 8 out of 10. Really good movie, really, really good. Yeah. But anyway, that's about it, guys. Thank you.